Welcome to DFestival's Meet the Master series. We're very honored to have George Lee here. He's a silver medalist of the 2015 International Tchaikovsky Competition and the recipient of the Avery Fisher Career Grants. Praised for his staggering technical prowess, a sense of command, and depth of expression, Mr. Lee has captivating audiences worldwide. He performed with renowned orchestras and conductors, including a memorable performance at the White House for President Obama. We are extremely thrilled to have him share his remarkable journey with us today. Welcome, George.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, I'm very looking forward to have you in the DFestival, which is happening in this July in the beautiful coastal city in Xiamen. Could you talk about your White House experience? I'm sure performing at the White House during a state dinner when you're just 15 years old, it's an extraordinary honor. Could you tell us about the experience and what was the highlight of this experience?
Yeah.
How did it feel to play, in front of President Obama?
Sure. Yeah. No, it was definitely incredible. One of those days and moments where you kind of want to cherish and kind of freeze for the rest of your life and kind of just savor it. But it was for the German state dinner, so it was with the Chancellor Angela Merkel as well, as President Obama and the First Lady. And it was just, it was a one-day trip, so it was very, very short, but just an amazing experience. We got to talk to him as well for a little bit of time. My whole family went, excluding my sister, but it was really, really incredible. They all got to meet him, and he's such a genuine human being. I think that's kind of what stood out to me the most. And then performing, we played in the Rose Garden, and it was really special. Really unforgettable experience for sure.
I saw he wrote a thank you card for you.
Yeah,
It's a very lovely group photo.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, so that was the photo we took when we met him, and I was not expecting to receive a Christmas card, and it came in, and it was really special.
It's like something you want to frame it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Right. Let's talk about the Tchaikovsky competition experience. I'm sure this is a big thing in your career. And how has your career evolved since winning the second prize at the Tchaikovsky competition? And what new opportunities or challenges have you encountered?
Yeah, well, the competition certainly opened a lot of doors for me in terms of performance opportunities. Valery Gergiev, who's the chairman of the competition and is a conductor, of course, he gives the winner so many performance opportunities, as well as the managements companies who come to the final round and they watch the entire process, and if they like someone, they try to sign them. And so it's really a great platform, especially now with streaming, a really good platform to show yourself.
And it's very good quality too.
Yeah, great. Yeah, especially with Medici or YouTube streaming, and it's really, really high quality. So it really kind of changed my life in terms of having a performing career. And since then, there's of course many different challenges. There's the separate challenge of juggling a lot of repertoire and playing, constantly touring around and being able to need to adjust to different halls and different pianos. And as well as just finding time to learn new repertoire, because as a pianist there's so much repertoire to learn, and to grow it's important also to just learn new music. And so just finding the balance between everything is, I think, quite challenging.
What's the experience playing in the hall?
Really special. I remember stepping into the hall for the first time. There's an expression where you kind of feel the ghosts of all the great artists in the past playing, and that's kind of what I felt, because I watched so many YouTube videos of great pianists like Horowitz and Gilels and Richter playing in the Great Hall, and
And you were there.
Yeah, and now I was there playing my own music, my own interpretation of the music, and that was really special.
Must be a magical experience.
Yeah, and also I think the audience members there are also very special because they've done it live. They've heard so many great artists play there live, and I talked to a few of them, and they saved money in order to go to the competition and to watch every performance, and you really feel that passion and joy from music when you step in the hall, and it's really heartwarming to be able to play for them.
Yeah, wonderful. Next up, we have recital preparation. Every major performance is a unique journey, and the path to the stage is often as intricate as the music itself. Could you walk us through your performance preparation routine and maybe mention one of your most memorable performances, perhaps a concerto debut or a particularly challenging recital? What specific steps do you take, not just to make yourself feel technically ready, but also emotionally connected to the music? And are there any rituals or personal touches, like a lucky charm or pre-performance routine that help you find your focus and calm your nerves?
Yeah. I mean, I think between recitals and concertos, there's a slightly different preparation process. Even in terms of like programming, usually when you play a concerto with an orchestra, you have a lot less say as to what piece you can choose, because it's usually the conductor and the presenter that chooses the program, and then they ask if you're ready to play this piece. But with recital programs, you have a lot more freedom to choose what kind of pieces you want to play. In terms of the actual preparation, I think it's a process that goes through many stages, especially in a big piece. Like, for example, tomorrow I'm playing the Rachmaninoff Third Concerto with the Cincinnati Symphony, and
tonight, right?
Yeah. Oh, tonight. Tonight.
I'll definitely be there.
And it's such a big piece, very challenging technically and just musically. It's such a long work, and you have to learn how to pace yourself, and it's kind of like a marathon, but and also just an incredible journey of emotional experiences through the music. But for me, that piece took at least 5 or 6 years to really understand on a deeper level, and to really gain control of all the technical aspects. I remember many stages where I tried to learn it, where I would kind of learn it for like a month and then kind of stop, give up, and then come back to it a year later. And
it must have been like a long battle for you.
Yeah, because it's just absorbing the music, and especially with Rachmaninoff, there's so many chromatic passages, and it's technically so difficult, and just to really absorb the and to get it inside your head, and then to work on the musical aspects of it just takes a lot of time. So it goes through stages, and I would say it's also the same with like German romantic music or classical music, Beethoven, Brahms. That's kind of a different way. It's technically challenging, but more so like musically challenging. There's so many layers to go through the music, and so for that, I usually, of course, I want to play it as much as I can, but then for me, like those pieces, they mature as you grow. So like how I play Beethoven, like a sonata right now, will be very different from how I play it 10 years later. But it's a part of the process. Like it takes time to understand it completely and to really play it well.
Absolutely. What about the routines you have?
Before routines. I think on the day I try to go to the hall and practice maybe 2 or 3 hours, so I really get to know the hall and the piano, because as a pianist you can't bring your own instrument, with the exception of like a few pianists,
Xiamen.
Zimmerman and Schiff,
Yeah.
and Polini. But it's a lot. So like you have to constantly adjust your playing and try to understand the acoustics and how the sound works in the instrument, and so that takes
internalize the instrument.
Right. So you don't have to worry about it when you're performing, and so that takes some time. And then so I'll usually just go through that, and then I usually get like a bigger lunch because I can't really eat so much right before the concert.
We're on the same page.
Yeah, right. We usually eat after the concert.
Yeah.
And then take a nap after, and then just go through the music. I usually go to the hall like about 2 hours earlier before the concert, just so I can get in the zone. And
is there like a specific ritual you do?
Not really, but just like having the general routine, like the schedule of the routine is kind of very much the same.
Autopilot.
Yeah. And
see.
I think when you can kind of have a routine that you're used to, I think it helps with settling with nerves and kind of just not letting other things that are outside of music disturb you before the concert.
Wonderful. Thanks for sharing your routine.
Yeah,
I'm sure it helps with telling the audience what's like to prepare a recital. Let's talk about the artistic development here. Critics often praise your combination of technical brilliance and emotional depth. How has your approach to interpreting musical works evolved since your early competition days? And which composers have been most influential in your development?
Yeah, I think it's like many factors, because music is so tied to your own life and how you process the music, and also the things around you that also influences you. For me, I would say a lot of my studies at Harvard and trying to get a well-rounded education, that also really helped me understand music.
English.
Yeah, literature. I studied English literature, and I found it to be very helpful for me to understand music in a different way, just because music is so abstract. And studying literature kind of focuses, it's like a very similar discipline to music. There's a lot of overlapping themes and ideas that are echoed within literature and music, especially like the same romantic time periods, and just being able to study different types of literature and to really realize how each author is like using words to express things in a different way. It's very similar to how composers create music and write music, in terms of developing their own language, their way of expressing music, even though there's of course there's a general similarity of harmony and phrasing, but within that there's Beethoven expresses and builds a language pattern totally different from Brahms or Mozart, Chopin, and it's interesting to be able to relate it to music and literature, and so that really helped me. And then also I think the pandemic that also kind of made me think about music or performing music in a slightly different way. I think I was able to finally really be with myself and study music just by myself for a long period of time, because I didn't have many performances during that time. And then also performing virtually, and also doing concerts first with 0 people in the audience, and then 10 to 20 people in the audience, and then 50 people, and then finally a full house again. It kind of changes how you use music and control your emotions, because I think when I'm by myself in the hall, I am only concentrating on the music and how the sound is being projected in the hall. I think before that, it's so different because you're only dealing with yourself and then like so many other people, and at a certain point it kind of becomes a little bit not distracting, but you have many different factors that can affect you in terms of like, so I'm kind of more hyper focused on the music, but then when I'm by myself I can kind of hear myself even better, and I can hear how the sound is projecting in the hall and how it affects the sound. And for me,
you have to focus within yourself.
Yeah, so I have the full focus, and then for me, I learned how to breathe a little bit more, to give music a little bit more space when it needs it, to kind of play with the timing. It's very different playing inside a living room versus playing in a very resonant and atmospheric hall. So those kinds of things I was really, I would say like it changed the way I approach music. And I would also say maybe before I was kind of thinking about trying to be perfect every time I was playing, and that kind of also changes the way you play. So sometimes you get a little bit more uptight and a little bit more nervous because of that. But then if you kind of just trying to be more communicative and trying to speak to audiences, you tend to be a little bit more relaxed. And
it's
then
as if you're doing the same thing through a different lens.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Wonderful. To build on the point of preparing for recitals, I think our audience would love you to talk about your practice insights. In an article by the Chicago Symphony Orchestra, you spoke about the challenges of achieving something greater than the sum of its parts of music. You mentioned about the trial, the error, and frustration that often occur in the practice room. Could you elaborate on how you navigate those moments of struggle, and how do you keep your interpretation fresh while avoiding over-analyzing, quote unquote, a piece, a humongous work?
No, it's always a hard challenge. I think, especially as pianists, because we're always so isolated. I think with string musicians and woodwinds, like even though you're practicing by yourself, you also have a lot of time where you're spending with other colleagues, and either with chamber music or orchestra, you're kind of, it's more communal, and you're kind of having conversations with other people, and you get feedback from other people a lot more than when you're a pianist and you're just in your own space and kind of just working by yourself. So it can get a lot, like you can fall into the danger of kind of being too hyper-focused on like little details and
perfectionism.
Yeah, exactly. And that is kind of a little bit the opposite of what live music is, because it's so organic, and everything kind of changes based on the audience, the hall, the day, like what happened in your life, and it's always changing. But at the same time, you're kind of like a conductor, because you have total control over what you want to say and how you want to say it through the piano. So, and there's always so many things to think about, right? With German composers and German music, there's a lot of structure, a lot about like phrasing and big picture things. So there's so many things to think about. And for me, I think when I was younger, my mom was like very invested also in my own studies and my career, and she would sometimes listen to me play, and that was also very helpful, because I think it's important to have an objective kind of ear, because we spend so much time pouring energy into the piano, and sometimes we can hear things, but then it's not very objective until you can get like an outside perspective who's like listening as kind of like an audience member, to kind of see what you're working on is like on the right track, or if something is a little bit off.
I was told that when I used to study with my teachers back then, and they were like, when you perform on stage, it's almost like you have to have this schizophrenic idea. Like you have to be in imagining you're also
Yeah, in the
sitting,
hall.
sitting in the hall
Yeah.
and then being your audience of yourself while you're playing.
Yeah.
It's so
difficult. Yeah.
Yeah.
And sometimes it's very uncomfortable, but I find like recording yourself and listening back, I think is also very helpful.
Do you usually have someone to help you listen before you perform?
Depends. With orchestra, usually yes, because there's like the assistant conductor who is in the hall and listening to balance. Sometimes, like today, I use my phone to put it in the hall to record, and then so I can kind of get
an idea
of the acoustics and how things work, and if I need to adjust anything. But yeah.
Nice. Let's switch gears to a fun final question.
Sure.
What's a passion or a hobby of yours that has nothing to do with music?
Yeah, I'm a big sports fan, and I also love to read. I live in Boston, born and raised there, so I follow a lot of Boston sports like the Red Sox, baseball, Celtics, basketball, Patriots. And
I unfortunately know nothing about basketball.
And then recently, since college, I've been following soccer, like English soccer.
Do you still play soccer?
Yeah, I do a little bit, just by myself or with my brother. And I follow Arsenal, their favorite team in England, and I spend quite a bit of time away from piano, following sports, and then sometimes when I have time, I also read. So those are my two hobbies, I guess.
Sounds great. Yeah, you always have sports and music.
Yeah.
You know, they actually overlap.
Yeah.
With each other.
Right. Yeah.
You know, they have competitions like we do.
Yeah. And the preparation.
The nerve.
Yeah. And I think also as pianists, it's quite athletic. So taking care of your body is also very important.
I honestly think that performance is like very athletic.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's mentally demanding as well as physically demanding too.
Right.
You know, like tonight you're playing the Rock 3.
Yeah.
It's like a long marathon.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much for all the insights you have for us today. Before we conclude, we'd be delighted if you could extend a personal invitation to this year's DFestival. How would you inspire someone to be part of DFestival?
Yeah, well, I think festivals are a very important component to any young performer or an aspiring pianist. It's a place where you can share ideas and in a very kind of a great environment. As I mentioned before, pianists are quite isolated in terms of practicing by themselves, and I think in a festival, it's a great place to study with other teachers and to get new ideas, new perspectives, and also just to meet other colleagues, similar students that are in the same kind of field and trying to aspire to be the same thing. And I think it's a great way to connect with those people and also with teachers, and also to get more opportunities to perform on stage and do some concerto competitions and recitals. I think it's very important because certainly for me, a lot of the experiences that I had performing on stage really helped me with competitions and concerts later on. So it's a great way to kind of be exposed to that and to have those opportunities. So, I think.
Thank you, George, for again sharing your inspiring musical journey and lots of invaluable insights with us. I think your stories of perseverance, artistry, and passion truly resonate with many musicians and music lovers alike. On behalf of DFestival and our audience, we look forward to seeing you and bring your brilliance to the stage this July. Given that you're performing with Antonio in a recital, and it's going to be so exciting. Thank you once again, and we can't wait to see you teaching, giving masterclasses, performing at DFestival this July.
Thanks for having me. I'm really excited for it. This is my first festival, like doing some teaching like this, so I'm really looking forward to it.
Yeah, really? Yeah. Nice. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Have a wonderful day, and have a wonderful performance tonight.
Thank you. Thanks so much.